Control, choice and agency. It's a bit of a wide subject area, but it's so important to consider when it comes to our dogs. What do I mean by agency? Well, agency is described as the feeling of having control over actions and their consequences. That's quite a statement. Let's think about our dogs. Most of the time, we choose when they go out, when they come home, where they go. We put them on a lead, we put them in a car, we confine them to a room, we control when they eat, we control what they eat. Don't always control when they drink, but that can be the case for some dogs, particularly if they're in confinement areas. We control who they meet, who they play with, what they play. And so for our dogs, life is largely controlled by humans. Strange that we should think that they're trying to dominate us when actually we really control everything they do. For a lot of our dogs with problem behaviours, that sense of agency has disappeared. The feeling of being able to control the actions and consequences of others has gone out of the window. Let's take, for example, you find something really nice that you want to keep hold of, but you can't keep hold of it because your human that you live with keeps taking it off you. You lose that sense of agency about having something that you like, and when that happens, you need to exert more control. So when you feel that things are out of your control, you need to narrow down and exert a little bit more control. It's the same for our reactive dogs. If every time you go for a walk and you don't want dogs in your space and you try and communicate that through some passive body language, but other dogs don't listen and they still invade your space, or even worse, they have a go at you, then your sense of control and ability to manage other things in your environment has disappeared, and you're going to need to exert more control. What happens when our dogs feel that they can't control what's happening to them, they can't control that dog coming up or not, they can't control that person taking something away or not, they can't control that visitor coming into their home, and they feel the need to exert more control. What often happens is then us as owners say, okay, my dog's out of control, I need to control him even more. And so we start putting more rules in and we make things a lot more narrow for the dog until we get to the point when the dog has no choices anymore. We put them in situations that they can't cope with, and we take away their freedom to be able to move away from something or tell something to go away because we consider it to be bad behaviour. Our dogs start to live in what we call survival mode, being hyper aware of changes in their environment because in the past they've been unable to control what's happened to them. The good news is that we can start to allow your dogs to have choices again. And that might be as simple as asking them, which way do you want to go on a walk? Rather than saying, we've got to walk this way all the time, because that's what we normally do. Letting them use their noses to explore. Choosing what food they want to eat and when. How do they want to eat it? Do they want to eat it from the bowl? Do they want to eat it from the floor? Do they want to find it scattered in the garden? What games do they want to play and when? So putting choices back into your dog's life and then rewarding good choices really, really helps. Often we think we're giving the dog a choice when actually what we're doing is putting pressure on them. You'll find as we train together that when the dog makes good choices and we reward it, those behaviours will be repeated and we don't have to be the ones in so much control. Being able to freely move through your environment and also to control what happens to you, those actions and consequences, is part of what everyone needs, including our dogs.